Hello guys, one of the newest addition to IIM list is IIM Mumbai, and today with us is Arpit. Congratulations Arpit.
Thank you, sir.
You'll be happy to know that Arpit got selected at IIM Mumbai and he is going to share his interview experience with us. This will certainly help people who are preparing for IIM Mumbai to perform well at the interviews. So Arpit, how did you feel after getting to IIM Mumbai?
It was my first convert, so I can't explain the feeling of getting your first convert and being sure that I am going to Mumbai.
Great.
Or just you're going to an IIM.
And IIM, yes.
That's the biggest factor of
Great.
it, because throughout my childhood I was told about MBAs but never interested in it. But this certainly developed as I went into job.
And I know that you also got through IIM Lucknow.
Yeah.
So you would be preferring Lucknow or Mumbai?
For me, it's a tough choice as of now. Reason being simple that Mumbai has its own charm. Being the mecca of operations, it's probably the best college you can opt for operations. Seemingly, from my interaction with alumni, according to them, 80% of the people in operations are from NITI. The manager, the director, everyone belongs to NITI. So it's one of the biggest college you can ever opt for, especially for operations. Yeah. So since I am from technical background, I am a little dicey towards going to operations. But yeah, if I was from operations, I would have been dead sure to get it.
So probably you might go to Lucknow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, before moving further, tell your brief profile first.
So currently I'm working as a developer from last 3 years with Apple in the DPE team. My work generally revolves around development, and for the majorly part of the 2 years. And recently I'm working as an associate product manager for my current team, which is unofficial in a way. But yeah, I am handling a team of around 20 people under me, and that was the reason which I decided to opt for an MBA, because I was finding it hard to actually understand people, analyze the finances, consult with teams, and that is where MBA came into picture.
Okay, great. So how did the interview of IIM Mumbai started? Because what I know is they didn't have a writing ability test there.
Nothing.
Okay.
So they
straight away interviews.
Yeah, it was a direct interview. They had 20% weightage for the interviews. Majority of the weightage was for CAT,
okay,
which was around 55%. So interviews, so they were not a major part of it, but I think they were judging people a lot based on it, because that is where I felt the difference came out between people. So for me, one of the major factor which I found was important across all the interviews, not just Mumbai, was my work ex.
Okay.
They were actually all the interviews were actually interested in knowing me, that what this guy has done. So when people say if you're a fresher of work ex, I would always say go with work ex, because you have something to show about what you have achieved in the professional industry as a whole, and what have you learned in total. So initially it started with the introduction,
okay,
which was about what you have done along my job.
So there was a question, tell me something about you times.
Yeah, that was just a simple question like, tell me about yourself. My major introduction, which I prepared with Sandeep sir, was focused around my work ex, my startups, and a little bit around the other NGOs which I have done. So once it was completed, the main question they asked directly was, could you expand on your work ex? Which I feel was the best part of it, because they were actually interested in the technicals. They asked me about how you are bringing down the time, what complexities are you using, so how you're actually able to bring down, my project revolves around reducing the time of release from 20 hours to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Which is a big jump, which is almost 600 times. 600%, almost 600 times, yeah. So that is where they asked how are you actually achieving. They had a complete knowledge about DSA structures and everything, so they went into technical, and that was around 10 minutes of it.
Okay.
So almost 10 minutes of discussion was around my technicals.
Around your technicals.
Technicals and my project aspect.
So how many panel members were there?
2 were there. Both of them were female, and both of them were. One of them was an MS from US, and another one was an IITM.
So were you knowing about them?
Yeah. One of the major factors which Sandeep sir informed us about was to know your panel members. Just for the fact that it will give you not just panel members, just have a rough idea of the faculties around that college. That gives you a rough idea of what that college focuses on. So something like Lucknow mainly focuses on either academics, firstly because it's known for its rigor of being held, as well as judging a person on its quality.
Okay.
FM is known for someone having good conduct with the literature. Whereas when you talk about Mumbai, it required one important thing, which was technical aspect.
Okay.
And that is where I found that almost 80% of faculties were IITians over there. And knowing them was a big part of it.
Okay. So almost 10 minutes they were asking technical, and then next.
After that, they shifted to a guesstimate.
Okay.
Other than guesstimate, I would say that it turned into a guesstimate. But the first question was, if you're from Indore, do you know the GDP of Indore?
Okay.
Then it turned out to be, what is GDP of India? What would we expect the GDP of MP to be? Since there are 29 states, how would you divide the GDP? Could you make it, MP being one of the biggest states, could you say it's 1/30th of the GDP of nation? And then Indore being a major city in MP, how much GDP would it contain? And then it was around 2 to 3%. And I was able to get it around margin of 20-25%. So this went on for around 2 to 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
There was a complete discussion.
So probably they were checking your analytical skills.
Analytical skills, yeah. One of the major factors which I found in Mumbai was they were focused on analytics and technical side both at the same time. So they were checking the analytical skills. And then the question came in continuation of it was, what would be the major industries in Indore? How would you rank them? One of then they had a complete idea about Indore, to be fact, and I'm not sure how did they do, but they had idea about 𝗵𝗯 existing, industries existing, what would be the GDP, which are the major leader of automobiles. Do we have automobile industries in India in Indore? So it was a complete discussion around Indore, which went around for another, I would say, 5 to 7 minutes in total. And it was majorly revolving around analytical skills and the guesstimate part of it.
Okay. And the interview ended with this?
No. After that, since one of the major factors which Sandeep sir told us was being able to control the interviews.
Okay.
So across this 6 to 7 minutes, I gave them a good understanding of the fact that I am interested in startups. Not just working about them, but even studying about them, which I was able to give them subtle hints about.
Okay.
Like, I feel the startups don't work out over here. These are the startups which are coming up in Indore. The recent fundings have been low, so I don't think this would happen. Since there were subtle hints which I would give out in those 5 to 7 minutes, I was able to capture on them on the point of startup. So one of the major factors is that your interview is something you can control, and it always revolves around what you have in your CV and what you're about to say. And this is something Sandeep sir explicitly explained us for many classes. So since I was able to control the interview, the next question was who is the favorite startup leader across India, CEO or anyone. So that is where I was pretty happy on it. I did not think of this question basically because this is something random, but since I had an idea, this might sound controversial, but I went with 𝗪𝗯𝗀 𝗪. Reason being simple, that though people don't appreciate Ola, but I had knowledge about other factors which I have recently come across, like the government schemes which are coming up, like Tesla coming up in India. This was around April end. So that was the duration when Tesla was planning to come to India. There were a lot of schemes going on. And therefore, based on that knowledge, I was able to combine and give an explanation. They wanted an explanation. It was not just a name. I gave the name and they requested what is the reason behind it. They wanted a complete analytical reasoning behind it. So we went in the technicals of Ola, how Tesla is coming up in India, how they're shifting, how they're rather than expanding, they're shrinking and just focusing on India as a whole and the electric business, how they are focusing a lot on two-wheeler electric business, and how government subsidies are changing for and how it will help them. So it was a complete analytical, not just question, it was a complete discussion on them about how exactly Ola can grow.
Great. So you were able to bring them to an area where you were very, very comfortable.
Yeah, that was I would say, belonging from technical industry, this is something my expertise where I can talk about tech stuff. Okay. And Ola is not just a taxi-based industry, but it's something who is shifting to electrical, and this is something which is very important in the current atmosphere of the state, quid pro quo. So that is where I was able to get them down to the fact that I am interested in this industry just because of the fact that I have a lot of knowledge, and I was able to control the interview completely under my.
And that's why you felt were you confident after getting out of the interview?
I was dead sure. Like, one factor was that since I had a lot of weightage to CAT, interviews were going to be the major factor. It might be just 20 marks, but over there, even 1 mark is going to matter a lot.
Sure, true.
Nailing it on such a good level where I was able to completely control it gave me a lot of confidence that I might be converting it on a very good rank.
And what I know is you got probably 20th rank.
Yeah, across the nation.
Great. So, what was the last question? Was it the last question or anything else happened?
Rather than a question, they asked me if we have any questions for them. And that is where I think I was able to hit the nail, just because of the fact that since I knew about the faculties, since 80% of faculties were IITians, my first question to them directly on point blank range was, why are there so many IITians in an IIM college? And they were actually impressed by it because they did not think that anyone would have idea, firstly. And secondly, even they said that it's a good question because we need to analyze it first. And then this is something which they discussed from their side for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And they were explaining me how IIM Mumbai is different from other IIMs and how we have structured our course in such a way that we will be helping you become a better technical leader in future. That went on for 5 minutes. Rather than my interview, it turned into their interview. Like I had around 4 or 5 cross questions. We discussed about what is the importance of computer science, math, business analytics, and they were answering it over here.
Great. So it seems that you had a wonderful time there.
Yeah, it was a good time with them. And one of the ending factors was that since they were from technical, I by mistakenly even set out their name, like thank you Purnima rather than ma'am or something, and they were actually pleased with it because they were like, we actually love the fact that people call us by our names because that is what technical industry is known for, being chill to your seniors. And she was actually happy that I called her by her name and informed me that not to do it in my upcoming interviews. Especially not FMS, which was later on, because they knew that FMS is not going to love it.
Great. True. Do you wish to say something like your learning, if someone wishes to get into IIM Mumbai and crack the interview process?
Yeah, for Mumbai, rather than the first thing I would say is that focus on your analytical skills. These are something which you develop across years. I have been a part of a lot of societies across my college. I've been to case competition that I think those are the ones which helped me a lot going through that guesstimate, because when you talk about analytical skills, these are something which come up on a point blank range where you're not aware of what might come up. So and have a lot of knowledge about the things which are going around the world. Having a general knowledge, reading newspaper daily makes you a person who is good to have a conversation with, and that is what people desire. That is what the people desire from someone who is going to be an IIM graduate in future. So if you're able to showcase that you're someone who is aware of his surroundings, aware of his aware of the world around him, and actually loves reading about it, and analyzing it just rather than seeing through it, they will love you being a part of IIM Mumbai, because they are a college who focuses on operations, and operation is something which is very analytical and requires a lot of understanding. In depth.
True. Chale, thank you so much. It was really wonderful talking to you. Well, this was it. So we really had a great interaction with Arpit, and we'll certainly call Arpit again because in one of the videos we will also discuss his interview experience of IIM Lucknow. Chaliye, till then, thank you so much.